No, I don't have an expectation on timing. Certainly not one that I would be willing commenting on. I'm going to follow the lead of whether it be trade or free agency, things that I can control. So I couldn't control giving that sort of target.
Share whether you're close to any type of milestone announcement.
I wish that I could, Hazel. I really do. I wish I could, for several reasons. Being close and imminent, I would love to talk about in a way that I would be confident sharing because it's meaningful. But secondarily, out of respect for all of the other stakeholders, that's too sensitive.
Russ,
He pitched in the Arizona Fall League, was very effective in it. So.
if you guys had a sense internally that someone was about a free agent, a prominent free agent, was about to make a big decision, would that slow down potentially talks on other fronts, whether that be trade or free agency, even just for a few days?
If we had a sense internally,
Yeah, that a big free agent was relatively close to a decision, would that slow things down for you and put things maybe a little bit on pause on different fronts?
well, I think it's the same for how it impacts the entire market. I think players of certain caliber that can take up a large portion of the market are going to slow things down for more than one team, which has been consistent in the past and seems to be the case today.
Ross, you've talked about your enthusiasm for Alek Manoah's work in the offseason and expectations for the big game next year. Was there any work that had to be done in terms of your relationship with him, just given the way that things unfolded?
It's so interesting. Players, elite performers, whether it's in sport, I can speak to baseball, that competitive nature, having really high levels of success and then having disappointment, it's a really difficult thing to work through. Alek has experienced a lot of highs and unfortunately this year experienced some lows, and he's in a great headspace right now. He's in, he is extremely motivated and extremely focused on making a significant impact, and we feel very good about him coming back into the fold with us in spring training. He's already back into the fold, but really looking forward to his impact this year.
Looking back with the benefit of hindsight, is there anything you would have done differently with Alek last season?
No, there really isn't. I mean, obviously, and we could go back and think through with information, the benefit of hindsight of the timing of fundamental adjustments, the timing of when he's pitching or not pitching, and I suppose we could find opportunities to have to pick different times to make suggestions, but there's nothing that I'm looking back on and regret.
Ross, it was a bit of a down year offensively for Kirk this past year. He's been posting some workout videos and stuff. What kind of reports have you gotten this offseason, and what does he need to get back to where he was?
Yeah, he's fired up. I think the having a child last year, the timing of it coming into spring training was disruptive. They did an incredible job for us. I think it's unheralded, it's unspoken of somewhat, the impact he had on our team because of the defensive impact that he had. I was so impressed with him down the stretch, catching every day for us in huge games for essentially the last 45 days in a row, and really held up exceptionally well. So he's taken another step to the start of his off-season from a nutrition standpoint, a strength and conditioning standpoint, exceptionally focused and engaged. And he has been throughout his career, and I think with the birth of his baby occurring, and fortunate that was healthy and successful, and now in a mindset and a position to really hone in and focus on this opportunity of the off-season to be at his best on day one of spring training.
Jansen is nearing the end of his team control years. How much of a priority is him? Is he someone you'd like to talk to this offseason about potential extension?
Yeah, I mean, those discussions are ongoing. You won't be surprised to hear me say that. And love Jano. He, in a similar way, is not spoken of enough externally because the impact he has on the pitching. You can acquire the best pitching in the world, but if you can't pick it up, and that's catching and your shortstop and your second base and all of your outfielders, then the pitching is just not going to be good enough. It goes in tandem. And Jano and Kirky have done an exceptional job of establishing relationships, building trust, receiving, blocking, throwing, game calling, prep, that they have the trust of our pitching staff, and you've seen it in the results.
Ross, you talked a little bit about Mitch White. I just wondered, what did he do at the end of the year that changed things? Was it a mechanical thing? Was it a different?
I think it was a little bit of mechanics and a little bit of usage, and the combination of the two, he found some rhythm, and then he found confidence. So, sometimes it is very simple, and he can't pinpoint it to be just one thing. He thinks it is a combination of those things that impacted his confidence, and I'm glad it did happen.
Earlier in the year, like the injury that he dealt with in the spring, do you think that lingered at all? That had an impact?
I absolutely, absolutely. I think he, came into the situation competing with Yusei to try and make that spot. Probably in his own mind was saying, "I'm fine. I can pitch through this." He certainly told us he was fine, and probably there was some chance he didn't have that full range of motion, which that impacts recovery. Then that impacts the ability to maximize arm speed and effectiveness, but nothing that we could see, or certainly nothing that he was sharing with us, but I do think that it affected him psychologically.
Well, how comfortable are you with a six-man rotation? Or would you have to talk to the other pitchers to get their sign-off on it to be comfortable with it as well, if you ever get to a point like that?
Yeah, I think it depends. It depends on the shape. It depends on how your bullpen is built. Depends on how the rest of your roster is built too. So how you're maximizing. Most importantly, how your bullpen is built.
But do the other starters' opinions about it matter?
Yeah, absolutely. It matters, and I also think it needs to be something that should be fluid, in my opinion, and not something that you lock in. So it takes a team, and it takes a team commitment for that to be successful.
Ross, back to catching for a second. With Hyun-jin being claimed on waivers, where do you seem to see catching depth, and how do you envision addressing that?
Yeah, we'll look to acquire there for sure, and feel fortunate to have the players in place that we do. But we will look to fill that AAA piece as well. Really feel good about the roster that is currently in place, and our work's not done. We would like to improve upon it, but we have 13 pitchers that pitched in the major leagues that could start the year right out of the gates, day one, that were all relatively effective last year, with pitchers beyond that in AAA that pitched in the major leagues, had some form of success, that could be conceivably starting in AAA. We have a really strong group of position players that we are looking to complement, and potentially could be at third base, could be in left field, but because of our versatility, we feel like it doesn't have to be. We have DH at bats available, and really excited about taking another step here. We've worked really hard to get to this point, not just today, but over the years, to have a team that is competitive, to have alignment with our ownership, to be agile and be in most markets to improve our team, and it's a great feeling to be there.
How comfortable of an environment do you think the clubhouse and even the fans be for international players or even Japanese players?
Yeah, I think I've from back to before I was here, I felt as though Toronto could be, and in some ways, I would like to take the accountability for it, should be the best place to work and play in baseball, because we represent a nation, because we are in such an incredibly diverse and exciting city. We have one of the best fan bases that's well over 14 million people in a country of 40 million plus. That is just such a unique opportunity. As we go into cities as a visiting team, our fan base, you can just feel growing and getting to know this team in an exceptional way. I can't really think of a better all-around environment that you would put clearly above ours. So That's the work that's been done well before I was here, and the work that's been done by Mark Shapiro to continue to build upon that. And just another piece of the equation that I think is more than icing on a cake, but the resources that Rogers have committed to beyond dollars that are able to help us acquire players and staff appropriately. The state-of-the-art facility in Dunedin, now to be the state-of-the-art facility at Rogers Center in Toronto. It's something that we lean into and celebrate as one of the better places in baseball.
Ross, what's
I'm just gonna grab some water.
Yeah, no worries. How would you describe the organizational familiarity with pitchers who've had 2 Tommy John surgeries in the past, and sort of what the prognosis is for them pitching in the future?
Yeah, Andrew Pipkin's been phenomenal. We were the healthiest team in baseball last year. We've seen a very positive trend in the deployment and ensuring that our players are recovering, ensuring that they're prepared and ready to compete. We've had really efficient return to plays, whether they're knees, elbows, shoulders. We set timelines and usually are hitting them. When I say we, Andrew Pipkin is driving that and has been phenomenal. Our medical department that incorporates our performance staff is something that I don't have impact and influence on. I follow their lead with their expertise to use our medical staff to tell us what is best for our players when they're ready to return without me pushing. And that is an incredible feeling to have as a leader in baseball, that you have so much trust and confidence that we can certainly ask questions, and that may influence because of title. But we're not pushing. We're not setting timelines or looking to speed them up. Certainly never looking to slow them down. But Andrew Pipkin's done an incredible job, whether it be return to play or just deployment and having guys be on the field.
Historically, what experience do you have with pitchers coming off 2 Tommy Johns and their
we had 2 last year, in Hyun-jin Ryu and Chad Green. So and have experienced it over my career, and there are 2 success stories that we have just recently had. I would say all the things that I just said. I watched Hyun-jin Ryu and Chad Green. Was flying down on a regular basis to Dunedin to connect with them during the season, to do my best to make sure they felt a part of the team and the organization, and was just blown away at their discipline. And July in Dunedin, when it's 95, feels like 105, and they're running around on the field with a lot of 19-year-old professional aspiring baseball players, and fortunately in a decent facility, the best facility in baseball in our opinion. But that's not easy. So it's not just resources, it's not just a director of medical that's highly competent with really good medical staff. It takes drive, it takes discipline, and it takes really good focus from the player. So in those 2 cases recently, we were very fortunate.
Ross, the medical staff and the fact that you guys were the healthiest team in baseball last year, is that something that you kind of bring up when you're talking to potential free agents? Is that something that you try to sell?
Yeah, of course. I think that it's, strength and conditioning, performance, nutrition, all of it is about being on the field and then optimizing your performance. But it starts with being on the field and being available. Scott Weber, Andrew Pipkin, Jeremy Track, Jose Ministral. There's many names that I could keep going. I've watched, learn. I've watched grow, and I've watched them get to the point that they've. It's easy to believe in their process as they've educated me on it, and the impact has been clear as well. So back to your original question is we always talk about that as a piece of the equation and usually incorporate those individuals to talk about it with free agents that we're recruiting.
Ross, with the new role for Don Mattingly and Marlo Hale now and stuff, what do you like about the dynamic of the coaching staff?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the humility. The second is experience, and all of it around winning. Really, really impressive careers already. Donnie's obviously, as a player, speaks for itself, but DeMarlo's experiences have been incredible as well. With us in Toronto, with Boston, with Cleveland, some with Atlanta. He is a remarkable human being that he's probably one of the most respected staffers in baseball. Was really impressed by John Schneider embracing that, and as impressed by Donnie Mattingly embracing the shift to offload some responsibilities and onload some others in a way that I feel very confident will help us impact that environment in a significant way.
John talked a little bit about the new approach to hitting coaches. How would you describe it? Like, is it going to be more streamlined? Is it going to be more individual? How is it going to work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's yes and yes. It's not like we weren't trying to do that last year. I think we've just seen as the game's adjusted, as information comes into the fold. By no means was there any complacency. So I want to make sure that is clear before I say this. I think we've just learned how the game adjusted to us, and now see a way to adjust back in a more specific way. That as we use the word streamlined and individualized, it's the information that was working and wasn't working as well, that we now see an opportunity to shift in a small way that will be helpful. I'm really excited about Donnie taking that leadership role and the impact that Guillermo and Hunter are going to have by targeting some goals for players in their game plans, and not just their game plans, but in their swing maintenance as well. To take another step. Our offense over the last 4 years has been one of the best offenses in baseball, and that includes this past year. We just took a little bit of a step back this year, but it was still an effective offense.
You mentioned 9 years ago, your first GM was here.
Yeah.
The Atkins.
Yeah, was it 9? This is my 9th year, so yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
What do you remember about that first GM meetings coming in, or winter meetings, coming into the role? It's like you're hired a couple days beforehand, you're here.
I remember, I briefly mentioned this. I mentioned on the radio this morning. I remember talking to my closest friend in baseball that doesn't work for the Blue Jays, Billy Gasparino, and talking about this market, talking about this team and this city as one of the best opportunities in the game and in sport because of all of the things that I said. And I remember feeling the impact and intensity and the expectations of that as well, and was really excited to embrace them and really excited to grow and learn, and I certainly have